So we are on day 8. Welcome. So today we're going to do some balances, and we're going to explore some balances. So grab your mat, grab your chair. Everything can be done in the way that you normally practice. So have no fear, I will talk you through it. Grab your equipment, wear some comfortable clothing you can move easily in, and I will see you in a second. So we are going to start in child's pose. If you're on a mat, feet together, knees mat distance apart, hips to heels, walk the hands forward, bring the chest down towards the mat, bring the forehead down towards the mat. If you're on a chair, pretty much the same thing. Let yourself kind of drape over the knees, arms down by the sides, and we will bring ourselves into the present moment in our child's pose by taking 3 breaths. Breathing in and out. In and out. 3rd breath in and out. Lovely stuff. From here, bring yourselves up into a tabletop position and then bring your right foot forward. So if you're in a chair, hug your right knee in towards the chest. So we're going to move pretty swiftly into our crescent lunge, but what we're going to do first is we're just going to play around with the hips a little bit. So if you're on a mat, just sinking down into the hips and then lifting back up, sinking into the hips and then lifting back up, and just playing around with this. If you're on a chair, just take your leg from side to side, moving from the hip. If you want to take it in circles, take it in circles, that's absolutely fine. Now you might think you can't do crescent lunge on a chair. You absolutely blooming can. And I will show you how in a second. So once we feel our hips are slightly warmer than they were 2 seconds ago, let your hips sink down. So in crescent lunge, we do let our hips sink down. For those of us on a chair, hug that knee in towards the chest. If you can bring the foot onto the chair, do so. You do not have to. So from here, raise the arms overhead and bring the hands to prayer position overhead. Let the hips sink down. Engage your left glute by thinking about lengthening through the tailbone. Inhale, lengthen up through the spine. Gaze thumbs and just gently ease your thumbs backwards as well if it feels okay for you. So same thing kind of happens on a chair. Your right knee is hugged in. You can either have one hand supporting that knee, that hug in, or you can try and kind of use your hip flexor strength to keep the knee where it is. Take both hands overhead into your crescent lunge. Breathe. If you're feeling wobbly, because crescent lunge can be a little bit of a balance, think about kind of hugging the thighs in towards each other. And on an exhale, bring the hands down. Take the leg down, foot to the floor, heel on the floor. Bring the hips back, lift the toes up. Get a little bit of a stretch down that leg. Runner's lunge. You're so cute. And then bring that knee back over the ankle. Bring yourselves back to tabletop. So if you're in a chair, just both feet flat on the mat. And then bring that left foot forward this time. Same thing. If you're in a chair, hug the left knee into the mat, into your chest, towards your chest. And play around with opening the hips, getting the hips warmer. So we're sinking down, or we're taking the leg out from side to side or in circles, whatever works for you. Lovely stuff. And then when you're ready, let your hips sink down. And as you do so, tuck the tailbone Really get your right glute engaged. Bring the hands overhead. Same thing if you're on a chair. Either one hand holding the knee where it is, or both hands overhead. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, gaze thumbs. Ease your thumbs backwards if that feels good. If you're doing that, and if your gaze is towards the thumbs, think about really engaging your thighs so you don't wobble too much, or at least so you don't fall out. It doesn't matter if you do fall out. Breathe. And then on the exhale, bring the hands down. If you're on a chair, bring the heel to the mat, to the floor. And also, if you're on a mat, just ease the hips back, straighten that leg out, runner's lunge. Lovely stuff. Bring the knee back over the ankle, tuck your right toes, and lift yourselves up into forward fold. From forward fold, look forward and lift yourselves all the way up to standing. Awesome stuff. If you're in a chair and you fancy doing what we're about to do on a chair, please feel free to stand up. You can do everything on a chair, seated if you want to. So, excuse me, first of all, let's find our mountain pose. I'm undecided whether I face the camera or not. Make a decision, Faye. I also really don't like upstaging Daisy. So, feet about hip distance apart. And gently push down through the feet. As you push the floor away with the feet, calves might engage, thighs might engage. Lengthen through the tailbone, tummy muscles hug in, pelvic floor muscles up. Make sure you stop breathing right up into the chest. It's absolutely fine. Shoulder blades down the back, palms facing forward, your gaze is forward as well. Same principle if you are still seated, push down through the feet. You do not have to be standing to do a mountain pose. One more breath. And then from here, if you are standing, take your weight into your left leg. Gently push down through the left leg. Get that leg nice and strongly engaged. Bend the right knee, take hold of the ankle. Bring the knees in towards each other. So it's almost like you're doing a thigh stretch. We are. Lengthen through the tailbone. As you lengthen through the tailbone, you might feel even more of a stretch. Absolutely fine. So if you are normally practicing with a chair and you are stood, have the chair in front of you so you have something to hold on to. Even if you don't normally practice with a chair and you're feeling really wobbly, grab a piece of wall. It really doesn't matter. If you are seated on a chair, come to one side, same thing. Just try to get the thigh stretch going. From here, take your left arm overhead if that feels comfortable. Take Janani Mudra, so first finger and thumb together. Inhale. Staying here if this is enough for you. If you want to go further, fold forward. Staying here if this is enough for you. If you want to go a little bit further, start kicking that back foot into the hand. So you're coming into a bit of a back bend. Lengthen through the tailbone. Stay here if this is enough for you. One hand on the chair, on a wall, wherever is good for you. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Raise your arm up. Fold forward a little bit more. Inhale, lift up. Fold forward. Inhale, lift up. Kick that foot into the hand. There's lots to think about in dancer pose, but it's a lovely one. Really gets everything stretching. One hand is always on a chair, on a wall, if that's better for you. Really doesn't matter. You're still doing dancer pose. Breathe. And then lift yourselves back up. Find your mountain pose a second time. So with all balances, it really doesn't matter if you fall in and out of them. It doesn't. It's all about the journey. So it doesn't matter how many times you go in and out, as long as you are persevering, as long as you're trying. And even if you do give up, it's only you that knows, not me. So we'll go into the second side. Made face on the right foot. Really push down through that right foot. Bend the left knee, take hold of the ankle, come into your thigh stretch first and foremost. Knees together, push the hips forward ever so slightly, so lengthen through the tailbone. Get that stretch through the thigh. Stay here if you want to stay here. If you want to go further, right hand comes overhead, take Janani Mudra, so first finger and the thumb together, or your right hand stays on a wall or on a chair, your choice. Staying here, if you want to go further, exhale, fold forward. Stay here if this is good for you. If you want to go further, push that back foot into the hand. Stay here if you want to stay here. If you want to go further, inhale, lift up through that front hand. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Woo. Exhale, fold. Find your balance as many times as you wobble. Just find your balance again. Find that sweet point around the foot on the floor. Breathe. Right hand on the chair, on the wall, or not. It's your balance, it's your practice. When you're ready, lift yourselves back up. Find your mountain pose. Find your balance between your left and your right foot. Help your body feel even and balanced. And then from here, take your feet a little bit wider than hip distance. And inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, fold forward, hinging the hips, coming into a ragdoll. So you can do this on a chair, you can do it behind the chair. Let the arms hang loose, let the head rest. You can either clasp each elbow if you want to clasp each elbow. I'm still upstaging Daisy, so I apologise if I do bad things. And release out after you dance this pose. Balances don't have to be about standing on one leg, and we don't find balance in our lives just by standing on one leg. We might find a little bit more focus. So from here, lift up halfway, and you can see Daisy again. And then straighten the legs, lift up through the thighs, keeping this back as straight as possible. Fold forward a little bit more. If you can grab, don't like that word. If you can take hold of the big toe with the first finger and the middle finger of each hand, close off the toes with the thumbs, keep the legs straight, lift the hips high, and then fold forward. So we're getting a big stretch down the backs of the legs. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, fold. Breathe. Notice where you're feeling this stretch. Inhale, lift up. Second option with this one. So you can either go back into fingers around the toes, or you can post the whole of your hand underneath each foot. And by the whole of the hand, I mean the whole of the hand. So your toes come up to the heel of your palm. Same kind of thing, keep the legs straight, lift the hips up, lengthen through the spine, exhale, fold. If it's too intense, lift up, take the fingers around the toes again. This is your body, listen to your body. If it feels really pingy behind the knees, ease out. Breathe. So no matter where you are, release the hands, bend the knees, look forward, lift yourselves back up to standing or seated. Release out. Find your mountain pose once more. Lovely stuff. So if you are normally using a chair and you're stood behind the chair, come round to the front of your chair. Take your feet a little bit wider than normal, toes pointing out either side, so like 10 to 2 position on the clock. And then you can do this if you're still seated. What we're going to do is push through the feet, lift up through the thighs, and then just gently sink yourselves down into a malasana, into a yogi squat. So your hips are either going to be here, they're going to be here, they're going to be here, or you're going to be seated. Your choice, doesn't matter. Because from here, we're going to really elegantly, and I don't mean elegantly, just come to seated. With a breath. And then just come to a seated position, your choice. And we'll close our practice by taking 3 breaths together. Take a soft gaze. Inhale. And exhale. And as you are taking your 3 breaths, just acknowledge what you've achieved. Dancer pose is not an easy balance. It's one that makes you giggle, makes you feel good. Well, it makes me feel good. Bring hands to prayer position at heart center. Bow to yourself. Thank yourself. Thank your body for achieving what it's done today. And I thank you for joining me. Thank you very much.